First thing is, we looked around, and over the last 6 months, when we meet entrepreneurs who've come in, we realized they told us, you Kleiner Partners are thinking more about how social works than anybody we've talked to. And a lot of the companies we work with on iFund are trying to figure out how to go social, and they said, oh my God, we want to know more about this. And then we met a couple entrepreneurs like Kathy Savitt and Tony Zingala who came in and went, oh, there's other ways this can go, and nobody sees it. They thought, we want to invest our time and our investment fund against this. What would be the coolest way to do it?
Yeah.
Hoping for more Zynga-sized bets, Kleiner Perkins and its partners, including Amazon, Zynga, and Facebook, have unveiled the S-Fund, a $250 million fund to invest in social. The fund will be led by Kleiner's Bing Gordon. On Thursday, we got a chance to catch up with the former chief creative officer of EA to get the story behind the S-Fund, his target investments, and why this is just the beginning for social.
So, at one point we were already starting to invest. We had an internal thesis about let's invest in companies that deeply understand social. And then we said, as long as we're going to do this, we're committed. As long as we're going to do this, let's get the coolest people we can think of to help.
Yeah.
And Kleiner had done that before. They did it a decade ago on a Java fund initiative where they did some side investors. And we feel really happy about iFund. We started liking iFund a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Many people in public just started kind of semi-liking iFund in the last week. But what happens when you do an initiative is you kind of signal, we're really interested if you're trying to do this. So we found when an entrepreneur came in and said, we'd like to talk to you about money, we'd say, well, let's talk a little more about social.
Yeah.
What exactly are you thinking here? What are you doing to increase your engagement?
Yeah.
And what are you doing about settings? What are you doing about privileges? What are you doing about using the social graph? What are you doing about distributing the social graph? And what are you doing about virality? And we love being engaged in those discussions. So I think first we were already going to do it. And we got a bunch of good feedback about it. And when you're in a room with John Doerr, whatever ideas you have get bigger. And it's like, well, imagine we wanted to do this as cool as possible. What would we do? Well, it'd be pretty cool to announce it at Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. What else? Well, it'd be fun to do something with Bezos because he picks up the spirits every time he's in the room. Oh, and Pincus is kind of the fastest growing company, but the fastest growing CEO we've ever seen. That would be kind of cool. And we got to get Alan Cohen because every entrepreneur we introduce him to likes him.
So this is all hashed out in just one conversation?
Oh no, this was multiple. It's first, hey, we really want to do this social. We want to do social investing in social companies, and then sitting around and going, let's take us over the top.
Yeah.
So one virtual conversation, but not at one sitting.
Okay.
And then it's like, well, is this too late? Did we already miss social? Well, we're doing it anyway. Do we really want to bring in other people?
It's late because you said on stage.
Oh no.
This is the beginning of
I
social.
love it
right?
when
Yeah.
I love it when there are other smart people who disagree.
Who disagreed?
On social? Oh, all Sand Hill Road. But on iFund, it was cool that most people thought, well, that's dumb. On Zynga, a lot of people thought games on Facebook, well, that'll never work. It's you don't want to bet on something that everybody else already's bet on.
Yeah. Now, this is kind of an abnormal fund in the sense that you can make investments as small as $100K or so to as much as $100 million, which would be like nearly half the fund. So why did you decide to do that?
We think that social is going to be so big, the social category. I think it could be, the category growth in social could grow 10 to 25 times in 5 years. And every company that's out there has venture upside, no matter how big they are right now, because the category is so big. And you know, I think we want the freedom to get the venture-style returns, but do it with the most interesting people.
What are some of the biggest companies that are out there today that you would consider an investment in at the $100 million level? Because at that point, they probably are pretty well formed, right? So they're already on the market. Any thoughts on that, or do you want to not disclose that?
Well, let's see. So Kleiner likes long-term relationships with great CEOs, likes really enabling company cultures, likes internet treasures, you know, companies in it for the long haul. So any company that you can think of that meets those criteria. And then learning is important, and partnering is important.
Yeah. On stage, Pincus was talking about some of the holes he felt was currently in social, and where he'd like to see, you know, for example, travel apps or customer service apps, that type of thing. Where do you see the holes? I mean, when you're looking for interesting investment opportunities, are there some ideas right now where you see there are clear gaps?
Well,
where
we
someone can
invested in
dominate?
Cafe Bots because we think there's a hole there.
Yeah.
And we invested in Jive because we think there's a hole there.
Yeah.
You can look at holes in a couple ways. So one is technology creates holes. Another is scale creates holes. You know, stuff goes like this, and there's areas that don't get filled. But user behavior creates holes. And if users want to stay in touch with all their friends, how many friends do you have on Facebook?
I don't even know, probably around like 540, 600.
And are you on Twitter? How many people follow you on Twitter?
4,500, 44, I don't know.
So, and you have a busy day. So, how do you find time to do anything else if you basically do enough for your Twitter followers and do your friends? So you get on Facebook and you're looking at like 150 posts, and you're nervous about making any post yourself because it might get response back and it might go out to the internet as a whole. And it's going to get more complicated. It's not going to get less complicated. You know, either you're going to, your career is going to make it so you got 100,000 followers, or you're going to do movies, or you're going to write a book, or you're going to decide to change jobs, and you're going to need to reach out to all your contacts and go, you know, AOL decided to put TechCrunch out of business. I'm looking for a job. Please help.
Hopefully that's not the case.
And I mean, so what I've found is media changes us. And when you start being in a daily habit of social media, you operate your life differently. And it's hard to imagine in advance how that's going to be, but it's going to change things. And you know, we're going to, instead of Facebook and Twitter and Jive, or MySpace before it, or Tencent, or DNA, or iPhone, instead of them feeling novel, they're going to feel like utilities. And so try to imagine what's it like, kind of the post, or what's chapter 2 on Facebook going to be like. And it's so easy to keep your friendships going. Why would you ever abandon them?
Yeah.
And so you're going to accumulate relationships over time.
In Michael's post this morning, he talked about how he kind of saw this Facebook as being the #1 social network, undisputed, you know, pretty much just being one primary social network for your identity, and you saw it as there could be more than Facebook. Do you want to elaborate on
I think
that?
there will be more than Facebook, and that's the purpose of Facebook Connect. Some of it has to do, for example, in business or in military or with medical data or financial data. You need a virtual private social network. And I think Jive has already shown that companies want to have an intranet social net. You know, we've seen in Japan and China hugely powerful social nets that don't touch Facebook. In Kenya, What I've heard from people trying to sell internet connections, that the number one reason that Kenyans, where the average per capita income there is under $500, the number one reason to get on the internet is to get on Facebook.
Yeah.
So when you have Samburu warriors telling you about Facebook, you know the world is changing.
Yeah. But they're still going to be the number one social network 5-10 years out.
It's theirs to lose.
Yeah.
So when you're and I applaud them for getting involved in something like this to help innovation. So it's always a danger sign when successful companies start defending their position instead of extending. It sure looks to me like Facebook is in a period of extending.
Now, I have one final question. You talked before about how you created this fund because you were really excited by the conversation around social when you were talking to entrepreneurs. So when you talk to these entrepreneurs now who want a slice of this $250 million fund, what should they think about? What are some of the topics they should at least come ready to discuss? Or what are you looking to hear from them?
Let's see. Well, always it's what are you passionate about, and how are you going to get to scale. And when you're on the social graph, get to scale means take advantage of the person-to-person pass along marketing. It basically, as Mike McHugh showed on Flipboard, show us something where if your friends' pictures are there, it's cooler and reinvented. And then let's get into discussion. Social is still changing so fast. Let's learn together.